Well, I'm on the phone with Duane Crawford, the head football coach of the Ellsworth Eagles, as we are every Friday and Monday during football season. Tonight's game, if you cannot make it, but you need to make it, is going to be broadcast on our sister station's internet feed. You can go to 929theticket.com, and then you'll be able to watch the game. But, Coach, you need everybody there tonight. If there's a must-win game, tonight is it against Mattanawcook Academy.
Yeah, we needed last week's game. We need this week's game, and the bottom line is if we win tonight, we're in the playoffs, and if we don't, that puts the onus on next week and help from other teams. So it's a huge game, and it's senior night, and come on out and support everyone. It should be a good night for football. There's not going to be any rain in the forecast. Looks like it might be a little crisp though, so dress warm.
Yeah, and and I know that you've talked to the seniors about their desire to keep playing. So you don't want the season to end next week. On the road.
Yeah, no, we got 10 seniors, and they've been playing a long time, and we really want to get that extra playoff game in and see where we can go from there, and hopefully Javon would be back for a playoff game. It looks like at this point, so that would certainly add a lot to the team, and so that's the goal, is to try to get in and then see what we can do from there.
All right, so let's talk about the seniors as you get ready for senior night tonight.
Yeah, so first one, Javon Williams, number 3. He's an amazing athlete. He was through the Stearns game. He had 13 touchdowns and 600 yards rushing, and as well as being one of the best punters in the league. He led the league last year with a punting average of 35 yards, I believe, per punt, and this year I think he's ahead of that. And he actually had one that was 62 against Orono when we played up there. So he's a special athlete, and he wants to continue to play in college, and he's got some colleges looking at him. So unfortunately, he's been sidelined with he had to have an operation on his finger and a finger pinned, and it's got pins sticking out of it, so he's not able to get on the field. But he will get out there to punt. They put a special cast on it so he can get out tonight and at least punt for us, which is all he'll be out there to do. But he'll get out and get a chance to kick the ball. Hopefully we don't need to punt, but in case we do, he'll be there to kick it down the field for us. But just can't say enough good things about him. He's played quarterback, he's played safety, he's played linebacker, he's played running back, wide receiver. He's probably the fastest kid on the team, and just an amazing athlete and a fine young man.
Well, 47 carries, 591 yards, 12 touchdowns on the ground, and then defensively, he's right up there leading in tackles.
Yeah, and he had a fumble recovery at Washington Academy. He returned for a touchdown as well. So he's definitely a key cog to what made us work when we were winning, and of course we struggled a little bit without him there. But like I said, hopefully if we get in the playoffs, he'll be back, and we can get him one more game.
At least.
Yes, at least one more game. Then our next one's Will Mourn, and Will's been with us for a long time. He's played a number of different positions for us, everywhere from tight end to tackle to defensive back, which is where he's been playing on defense as well as tight end this year, and he's done a great job. He had an interception down at Mount View last weekend. They were driving, and he caught one in the end zone, intercepted one in the end zone, and brought it out to the 3 or 4 yard line. And he's made huge strides and vast improvements over where he started when he was a freshman. And he's I just can't say enough good things about him. If you ask him to run through a brick wall for you, he'll do it and keep right on going. So he's probably one of the most improved players we've had on the team this year. And then Jacob Morton. Jacob's been with us for a while as well. He's one of those guys that we've asked to do a lot of things. When we started the season, he was going to be our 2-back. Then he ended up playing offensive guard for us, and some tackle, and defensively playing some tackle. And he missed 3 weeks with a concussion and just came back for last week's game and went out there as an offensive guard and defensive tackle and did a great job for us. And he's undersized, but he probably only weighs 160 pounds, but he works hard and he's smart and he wants to play, and so he goes out there and gets the job done. And it doesn't matter what we ask him to do, he's doing it. He's listed on the roster as wearing number 10, but he's actually wearing a 60, I think, or 6. I can't remember what the number is, but it's a lineman number. So, which he's been wearing most of the season instead of the number 10 that he was originally started out with. And so it just shows you how unselfish he is. And whatever we need him to do, he's out there to do it. So, really, really nice to have someone like that that'll just go out and, sure, Coach, what do you want me to do? I'll do it. So. Chuck Hughes. Chuck is a 2-year captain for us, fullback. He's a tough, straight-ahead runner. I mean, he looks for contact. He runs over people. He's 5'9", 5'8.5", 5'9", 200 pounds. Good hands. He's got good athletic ability. Not the fastest kid on the team, but he'll certainly give you everything he's got. And he's had some good games. Unfortunately, he works better when we have both Javon and Connor out there because there's too much there's more outside threat to look at, and then that opens up the inside for Chuck. But he does catch the ball well coming out of the backfield as well, so hopefully we can take advantage of that the next couple of games. And he's put up some pretty good yards this year, and against Foxcroft, and I think he carried the ball 24 or 5 times, and he was pretty much all we had for offense at that point. So Connor and Javon were both out, and he went out there and then last weekend he didn't get off the field at all. He was out there all 142 plays, so that tells you how tough he is.
Chuck, I mean, if there's somebody that earns yards, he earns every bit because, as you mentioned, it's all up the gut, straight up, pound for pound. Got to keep those legs churning yards. Yeah, he's really tough, and then the play that epitomizes that the most, I think, was against Washington Academy when he caught the ball. It was 5-10 yards out of the end zone, and then ran over one of the Washington Academy kids and went for another 15 or 20 yards, and I mean he literally ran over him. They went up to tackle, and he just lowered his shoulder and went right over the top. And he does that play in and play out, and he's a really good north-south runner, and so that's hopefully we can get him a few more carries and then before the end of his senior year. But he's a good leader as well. Like I said, he's a captain and has done a great job for us. So Javon is one of the other captains as well. So and he's been a 3-year captain, I believe. So Ethan Desjardins. Ethan is he's a big kid. He's 300 pounds. He has played offensive guard, offensive tackle. He's played linebacker for us. He's played defensive tackle for us. Right now, the last couple of games he's playing linebacker, which is where he'll play tonight, which gives you an idea of his athletic ability. A kid that big, he's 6 feet, I think, and 300 pounds, and he still moves really well for a big guy, and very intelligent. He makes a lot of line calls for us, and he just keeps plugging along, and he's a guy we want to run behind. So big kid. He's well respected among his teammates. He's a nice guy and fun to hang out with, and the kids all like him, and so he's a huge addition to our team, and someone that it gives us a lot every game. So Andy Atherton. Andy's new to us this year. He came out. He came out last year and tried it for a little bit, and then ended up working instead of doing any fall sports, and then decided his senior year he was actually gonna stick with it, and he's been out there on special teams for us. He's played offensive guard and some defensive tackle, but mostly on special teams, and he gives it his all, and he's one of those kids you would have liked to have had 3 or 4 years ago, so you could have molded them and worked with them a little bit more, and he would have been, I think given another year, he would have been a starter for us. So he's put in a lot of hard work and never complains, and just does what you ask him to, and great kid. And like I said, I wish we had him 2 or 3 years ago to work with him. So Cam Cody. Cam
Cam took last year off. He had an injury and wasn't able to participate and for the entire season, and not a football injury, but and so he really missed it. He's played all through his high school career, and I think he actually started playing in third grade when we started the league, so he's been all the way up through and played from the beginning, and having to sit out last year was really hard on him. He couldn't wait to get back at it, and he's he's another one of those big guys that offensive lineman, defensive tackle, we look to run behind him whenever we can, and he's these guys don't always get all the credit. They don't get the glory that the guys carrying the ball do, and especially on the defensive line, they're not always making the tackles either. So he's playing tackle and then defensive tackle and kind of making a pile for everybody, and people come in behind him and clean up, so he doesn't get his name in the paper like some of these other guys. But he's if we're successful, he's successful, or the other way around. If he's successful, we're successful. So he's done a great job for us, and it's been a pleasure coaching him the past 3 years. And he was with us last year in spirit and in some of the games to help out. But this year he's come back and he's done a great job for us. Hunter Fernald. Hunter's another one of those guys. He came over this year, first year, and I've been after him for 4 years to play football. He's a big kid. He's 6'1", 6'2". Played soccer all the way through up until this year, and finally decided that he was going to give football a shot. And after he got in it, both he and his dad said the same thing I've been saying all along. I wished I'd started 3 years ago. Uh-huh. And he's one of those guys, I think, if he'd started, even if he started last year, he would have been all-conference linebacker, tight end, defensive end. We've had him all over the place, and he kicks off for us, and he kicks extra points, and so we've moved him around a lot. It's been a lot for him to assimilate, and with all the things we do on a weekly basis, things change depending on who we're playing, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but offensively on the line calls, that changes, and then the offensive formations change here and there, and so when you're new coming into the game, it's kind of overwhelming, and it's not just a matter of going up and lining up across from somebody and hitting somebody. There's a lot of things to think about, and if you're a tight end, if we're running option, you either leave a linebacker alone or an outside or a defensive end alone, and have to get to the second level and get to your blocking assignment out there. So there's a lot of things. It's a very complex, cerebral game, and being thrown into the fire without ever having played is it's a lot. So he's still been processing it, but he's done a great job. He's had a few sacks. He's kicked a ton of extra points for us. He's been definitely instrumental in our success. And like I said, 3 years ago, if I'd had him 3 years, he'd be an all-conference player this year. So. And Malcolm Svek, he's one of our captains. Malcolm's been with the program since the beginning, and he's a defensive end, tight end, big kid, 6'2", 6'3". He definitely should be an all-conference defensive end. He does a great job at shutting down the outside and pushing those guys back in and setting that edge. I can't say enough good things about him. He just keeps playing hard. He knows what he's supposed to do on the offensive side of the ball, knows what his responsibilities are and what his job is on the defensive side, and he does a great job all the way around. And you only need to tell him once, and it all processes, and he knows where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to do. He's a good leader, and he's just been a joy to coach over the past 4 years. And then our last player, Nick Taylor, who started with us last year. Nick he plays defensive tackle for us primarily in special teams, and we do put him in every once in a while on offense as a guard. But he's probably pound for pound the strongest guy on the team. We were in weight room this summer, and he was doing deadlifts with 415 pounds for 10 reps, and I think he only weighs 160 pounds. So
that's what you call wiry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's incredibly fast, and he's fast off the edge, and he actually last week was his best game of the year. He had 9 assists and a couple of solo tackles and a sack. So, big game from him last week, and he's going to have a big game this week too for us to be successful. So, just one of those kids that he's picked up a lot in a short period of time and has progressed tremendously. And I'd really like to see him play 3 or 4 more games this year, his senior year. So that hopefully I haven't forgotten anybody, but I think that rounds out all of our seniors, and great group of kids collectively. I mean, they're kids that just show up, and they're good kids. They're fun to be around. There's no drama. You don't have to worry about disciplinary things with them. Academically, they're all in good shape, and it's just they come out and they're respectful and they're good sports, and it's a great group to coach.
All right. Well, it's a big night tonight. We'd love to have that whole grotto just full of Ellsworth fans cheering him on, being that 12th man on the field. Again, if you can't be there, cheer loudly from home. Make sure you watch it on 929theticket.com. And, of course, if you're going tonight, you want to make sure you bring a non-perishable item, a food item, some toiletries, a package of diapers. I also saw coloring books and crayons, which I think is fantastic, because all of that's going to get donated to the Loaves of Fishes food pantry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hadn't seen that one, but that's a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, listen, anything your kids would love, other kids are going to love too. So,
yeah, exactly.
And so it's real important. Coach, best of luck. We'll talk to you on Monday, and go Eagles tonight.
Hey, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.